All right, so one of my sections in my book Inheritance that's coming out June of 2026 on my father's birthday is called The Noise. And one of the greatest parts of the noise is the media. And one of the greatest talking points of the media, both social, traditional, or war and elections. And war and elections do decide the future. I'm not saying that they're not important, but not in the way that you think. And this video is to help you understand that if you don't understand how these things actually affect you financially, you end up becoming the one who pays the price. This is entirely different than how most pundits speak to these topics. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Casey Marx. I have founded 4 successful companies: Crown Haven, Bull Baron, Pinecone, and Annuity Lock. I self-funded all of those companies. I did not take private equity, outside support. I started as a young man who had graduated into a recession after I watched my widowed mother lose everything to a financial system that basically did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was designed to exploit her, and it did that. On the way, I've mentored thousands of advisors over the past 15 years. I've spent 60,000 hours with real families, speaking to them about their lives, what they want them to look like, building portfolios for people. I've walked the trading floors. I've sat down with the billionaires. I've ate the A5 Wagyu and the best sushi in the world. I've traveled the globe. I have spoken at huge conferences. I've been on islands in the Caribbean where presidents of multinational banks are pitching their newest product that they want me to then sell. I know what the financial industry knows. I know what it tells you, and I know what they don't want you to know. I know what they hope you'll never figure out. And after watching all of this, after where I came from and where I'm at now and what I've built, which has been like Sisyphus rolling a ball up the hill, every new problem I've seen, I've built something to fix that new problem that I've seen. Inheritance is the tell-all. It's blowing the lid off the financial system. I'm tired of it. So I'm in the run-up to that book, I'm doing a series of videos. And this is just some of what's in the book, because I'm trying to expose the truth that, quite frankly, people do not want you to know about or see. And I'm just sick and tired of the half-truths, and they're everywhere. So Inheritance is my attempt to put all the puzzle pieces together to give families a fighting chance, because you deserve it. So let's talk about this lie that they've been feeding you, particularly the media and the pundits, when it comes to election season, wars, you name it. Here's the lie. Presidential elections and global conflicts determine whether your retirement succeeds or it fails. That's it. That's the lie. What the media is doing here is they're selling you fear. The politicians are selling you a narrative. Vote for me or else. Here's the heaven if you do, here's the hell if you don't. Economists are selling their predictions, and they're never checked on those, by the way. And families are paying for all 3 of those things. Here's the truth. Your retirement isn't destroyed by any one single election or war. It's destroyed by not having a plan that survives any of those outcomes. There's a famous economist, his name's Nassim Taleb. He's brilliant. He's written a series of books. Most notably, people know Black Swan, the Black Swan event. People used to think all swans were white. Then they saw that there were black swans that existed. The folks that saw the black swans came up and told the folks that thought only white swans existed that there were, in fact, black swans. They said, there's no such thing. And then everybody saw that there were black swans, and they said, holy shit, there are these things, black swans. Well, he coined the phrase black swan for an unknown in the marketplace. A black swan event would be like the financial crisis, okay? So that was one of his books. He wrote a book recently, and I guess not super recently, but it was called Anti-Fragile. And his job in a world full of volatility was not just to make a portfolio resilient, which is when the world collapses or when the markets collapse, the portfolio just kind of stays okay. Certainly not fragile, it falls apart, but anti-fragile. It performs well in any of those environments, across 4 quadrants of inflation and growth globally. So uncertainty doesn't break retirements. Lack of structure breaks retirements. A properly structured wealth plan can survive anything if it's properly structured. And people think that's a fugazi because they've drank the Kool-Aid of whatever advisor they're working with and they've told them it's not possible, or maybe they've just done their own research and they're a passive investor, or they follow Buffett or whatever. It's like, you think there might be a reason why Dalio gets paid as much as he does to manage, well, he doesn't do it anymore, but Bridgewater? You think there might be a reason? You think he might have figured something out? So why is this narrative sold to you? Well, number one, it creates money for everybody. The media sells more advertisements. The economists get paid to write papers. The brokerage houses make a killing on your buying and selling. Fear monetizes. Fear boosts ratings. It strengthens political loyalty. It gets votes. It increases ad revenue. It keeps you emotionally reactive, which, by the way, is a data point that the institutional investors use. It makes you easier to manipulate. I'm not saying don't be smart, don't look at the writing on the wall. I'm just saying that understand that your fear is a data point. When people are scared, they stop thinking. When they stop thinking, they start obeying. Wall Street loves frightened investors. They love it. They have sentiment indicators based on this. And I know you think you have your own sentiment indicator that you track or whatever. It's not the same. I've walked the floors. I've talked with the strategists. It's not the same. What do frightened investors do? They sell low, they buy high. So they sell because they're scared or they can't afford to lose anymore. They buy high because they have fear of missing out. You only live once. They chase narratives. Holy crap, it's gonna take over the world, so I have to. They make emotionally based and emotionally charged decisions, often with the help of some jerk in the financial industry who's just a salesperson or shill for something else. And what do they do in the process of all of this? They create liquidity for the larger institutions. This applies, by the way, to crypto, which I talked about in another video. War and elections don't ruin portfolios. Human behavior ruins portfolios. So here's how it actually works. Let's remove the emotion and look at the hard truth here. And yes, I have notes in front of me. The market doesn't care who the president is, okay? It cares about the liquidity in the market. You've seen this. When the Fed prints money, markets move. When the Fed tightens the belt, markets break. Who gets the blame? Presidents get the blame because people don't understand how the markets work. So whoever's in office gets the blame. If it's on the other side of the coin and the markets are going great, the presidents get the credit. But it's the Fed that pulls the levers. Number two, war often increases government spending, which markets absolutely love. They love government spending. Markets don't have morals. Markets aren't worried about compassion. They're not worried about the working guy. They have incentives. They want to make money. What happens when war occurs? Defense contractors rally. Energy spikes through the roof. Infrastructure spending ramps up. War is hell. War is tragic for humanity. It is the worst possible thing that could occur. It's brutal, but historically, it is incredibly bullish for the markets. Now, elections create temporary turbulence because there's uncertainty, but there's not permanent consequences that come from this. If you look back at any presidential cycle, yes, volatility increases. Yes, headlines get insane. Yes, people that know how to market to this make a lot of money when they do that. Yes, both sides say the world is going to end if the other wins. Is anybody tired of that yet? Just on another note, I mean, there is a certain truth to the fact that we have to get our shop in order. But holy smokes, I don't want to get too political here, but we've had an omni party for God knows how long. I don't care who's in office, okay? Look at the data. Markets rise under Democrats. Markets rise under Republicans. Market rise under Trump. Markets rise because companies innovate. The private sector and the public sector, publicly traded companies, but the private sector does not stop innovating. Politicians don't innovate. Companies do, and that creates growth. The only thing war and elections consistently destroy is your peace of mind, your stress, your anxiety, your certainty. Dude, I'm not even immune to this. I'll put myself up here. With the knowledge that I have, with the people that I talk to, I haven't always had this sense of peace that I have right now. And arguably at a time when so many factors that are converging on each other that it's insane. But 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, I could see what was going to happen from a political standpoint so clearly. And I remember calling my mother as I was driving down the freeway saying, this is going to happen, then 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 this is going to happen. And guess what? It all happened. Only thing I missed was COVID. Didn't see that one coming. And yeah, it stressed me out Because it was like, well, shit, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. The Pacific Rim economy and China and Russia and shit. A multipolar world and AI and shit. But when you stress and when you have anxiety and when you lose your certainty, you lose your discipline. When you lose your discipline, you lose your wealth. And thank God I had discipline when it came to the portfolios that I'm running and when it came to my own portfolio. Nobody loses their retirement because of Washington or Moscow. They lose it because they panic as a result of what Washington or Moscow does. So here's the real threat. The real danger isn't war, it's not elections, it's not which party wins. The real danger is not knowing what your worst case scenario is to your specific portfolio and whether or not you can survive that worst case scenario. Most families do not know the income floor they need to be able to rely on in an inflation adjusted manner so they can continue to live without worry of what happens in the markets. They don't know what their true risk exposure is. They don't know the correlation coefficient between domestic equities and domestic bonds. 2022 caught them by surprise. They don't know what their true tolerance is to volatility. 2020 was a fake out, man. Markets dropped, they shot right back up. Why? Interest rates were cut to zero and we printed like $6 trillion. So it was like, oh my God, and then everything was fine. People don't know their liquidity needs. They don't know the probability of their own longevity even. It's a 91% chance that if both spouses reach age 65, somebody's gonna need long-term health care. There's an insane chance that somebody's gonna live to 90. They don't know how sequence of returns risk impacts their portfolio over time. So they end up guessing. If they're doing it themselves, they're definitely guessing. If they're working with a traditional financial advisor who's built for accumulation and not distribution, then that person's guessing. And they're showing them a Monte Carlo analysis going, yep, looks like it'll work. Not showing them any of the worst case scenarios, not showing them true inflation, not showing them their actual withdrawal rate, not showing them the fact that their taxes are probably going to go up because the modern monetary theory is imploding in front of our eyes, not showing them the Roth conversion strategies that they should be using, not showing them long-term health care or what that's going to cost. They just want to keep them as a client. Guessing is the most expensive financial strategy ever invented. There was a gentleman I saw talk once and he said, if you could unwind the 3 biggest financial mistakes of your life, ask yourself this question, how much wealthier would you be? The sad thing that I see on a daily basis is I see folks that come into my retirement planning firm, Crown Haven, which is nationally recognized for our Retire Shield, and which we teach thousands of other advisors how to do. And one of those 3 most expensive financial mistakes they've ever made in their life has happened pretty recently, and they don't have the time to make it back up. So how do you protect your retirement no matter who wins, no matter what breaks, no matter what happens in the financial world, no matter what happens geopolitically, macroeconomically? Here's the part that actually matters. You need an income plan that survives uncertainty. You need an income floor. This is your non-negotiable monthly stability. It's your floor. It's literally called income flooring in retirement planning academia, if you look it up. You need a risk management strategy that neutralizes sequence of returns risk danger. A structure. It's our 3-bucket approach that we employ here for our retired clients. Liquidity, income floor, growth. If growth bucket drops by 20%, it doesn't affect income or emergencies. It neutralizes sequence of returns risk. Protect your first decade of retirement and you protect the rest of your life. That's factual. If you lose 30% of your money in the first decade of your retirement, you need a 43% gain to get back to even while you were taking distributions from your retirement dollars, while you're being most likely taxed because you've had a joint account with the IRS in a traditional IRA or a 401k. Do you think you're going to get back to even, or do you think you're going to run out of money at 83? You need buckets like I just talked about. You need a growth bucket, you need an income bucket, you need a security and liquidity bucket. Structure over fear of missing out or hysteria when the bottom falls out. You need a plan that assumes elections will get crazier. Conflicts will escalate, because they will, man. We're not gonna get, things aren't gonna get calmer from here, okay? We're entering a very interesting 10 to 15 year period of time. One of the most life-changing technologies ever has just been deployed on the world at a time when geopolitics are in a very interesting place, at a time when debt is incredibly high across the board. It's not just the United States. But the thing is while the world doesn't get calmer, All that needs to happen is your plan needs to get smarter. And you need protection from yourself on this front because humans panic, humans react. They run into their adaptive state. They just got punched in the mouth, they make the wrong decision. Humans abandon strategy under stress. Watch any of your favorite movies. There's always one guy that like maintains the strategy even when you know what's hitting the fan, and there's like 30 people. They're like, oh my God. Are you the guy? Ask yourself, are you the guy when you just lost 40% of your money and you know your wife wants to go to visit your daughter in Tampa and you had a plan to go visit Rome for the first time ever, and oh, by the way, you still have to pay your monthly bills, which didn't go away just because you retired, and you got a grandchild on the way, and you don't want to have to like look at your checkbook every single time you want to go out to Applebee's? Are you the guy that just stays the course, or are you the guy that goes, oh my God? Be honest with yourself. You don't even need to go through that because proper planning removes the need to feel confident. It makes you mathematically resolute. It makes you mathematically impermeable. That's the key. Here's the checklist. Elections don't determine your retirement, structure does. Markets react to liquidity, they don't react to politics. War creates volatility, but not permanent collapse. Your income floor has to be untouchable. Your growth must be separated from your safety net. Your emotions cannot drive your financial decisions. Fear is how Wall Street makes its money. Don't be the person that allows that to happen. Certainty is how families keep their money. I hope this was helpful for people. If it was, please subscribe, like, share. Stay tuned for more. My goal here is to help the average human being, the millionaire next door, the younger generation, to prevent the mistakes that, quite frankly, their parents tell me they made all throughout their lives. It's also why I'm creating Bull Baron. There's going to be a wait list for that because I'm going to work strategically with less than 100 people myself. There's a video on that somewhere on my channel, and I suggest you watch it if you're a young person that wants alignment. But if you want truth, not hype, not bullshit, somebody who's seen everything there is to see within this industry, from the ground floor all the way to the billionaires and everything in between, this is the place. And I'm not here to impress you. Be kind to one another. Be truthful. Be the person that would make your children proud, your parents proud, God proud, your dog proud. Be that human today. Everybody have a good one.